So, Americans seem to watch way too much TV. And of course, we want to see the stoic cowboy type, right? Whatever suit he may be wearing, it's always the stoic cowboy. Um, you guys might have been paying attention a little bit. First of all these folks are aware that I record. The link in the comment section is from a woman who obviously knows I record. So, what am I going to do? I'm going to continue recording, continue telling the truth because it's important. Now, how many people have I gotten to hear that have the idea of, oh, well, you should have run him over with your car, or you should have shot him, or you should have hit him with your taser? I'll have to post up the links with Nathan and several other employees at the Safeway. There's dozens. Um, when I'd go in there, the appropriate response, no, there wasn't an appropriate response. It was, there's no fighting out here. Nobody's interested in a fight except for, well, everybody. I live in America. I was born in America. I was born in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, October 18th, 1980. To Brian David Schwartz and Angela K. Schwartz. Her maiden name was, well, we can go into that later. However, what I want to show you right now is what people like to have as their ideas for fixing stuff. I'm like, it's simple. You know, instead of threatening to kill people, I got an idea. How about with these pieces of papers that I apparently have to carry around everywhere? A big old stack of it. Stuff that lawyers told me to carry. Stuff that mental health people told me to carry. Stuff that I'm supposed to carry because I'm autistic. You know, stuff that's supposed to help me with self-advocacy. Not that they're going to let me self-advocate. That's the biggest fucking joke with self-advocacy. Self-advocacy is a joke because what these government employees are trying to insinuate to our loved ones is that, oh, the government's going to take care of it. When the fuck have they ever? Jesus. Self-advocacy. You mean like when you go in by yourself and they treat you like you're schizophrenic and delusional because you don't have a friend or family member there? And then they lie to the public to intentionally make you a fucking target? They lie to mental health professionals. They take away your ability to show evidence. The cops involved in this situation before Natalie was killed. Well, let's just go with the departments that were involved. Let's start off with Chesapeake Police Department. Yeah, they were involved. My car got stuck in the road and they came and picked me up and took me to the Chesapeake Hospital. Yeah, I was dehydrated. The messages between Natalie and I show that I was definitely dehydrated. Now, what do the Kiwis and the Brits have to do with this? What the hell do the Aussies have to do with this? Well, the United States Constitution and the First Amendment. See, these folks seem to believe that we still have that. When Natalie first disappeared, I had so many Aussies, Kiwis, and Brits getting a hold of me, wanting to tell me, you know, about all these wonderful things we have as Americans. Are you fucking kidding me? No, not in decades. 9/11 destroyed what was left of the Constitution. We don't even have the First Amendment anymore. Do I comply with any judge's command to shut the fuck up? No, I don't. When they say you're not allowed to talk about it publicly, you're not allowed to talk about it to your friends, I don't care. I don't. There was a gag order put on the Natalie Bollinger case. You know who didn't follow the gag order? Me. You know why I didn't follow the gag order? Because it wasn't placed on me. That's why. So when I tell people I want to turn them in, there's even instructions here. I've got instructions even from Tillamook from when I first got here. Well, several months after I first got here, because I already had to turn these places in. But damn, I'm carrying a lot of stuff. I do remind you, this was a piece of evidence that Deputy Moody was able to acquire for me. That message there is very. Oh, and yes, I was letting her know about it, evidence. Because, see, they were trying to pretend I was schizophrenic and delusional over Chris Stafford, Natalie Bollinger, and a lot of other stuff. Well, she verified it in our chirping device. That's the texting in the jail. She also, like I said, was speaking out about her ex, Joshua Stromberg, sticking his hands on little kids. You just don't do that. I'm not going to keep my mouth shut if you're going to do that. Are you fucking kidding me? You're out of your goddamn mind. And of course, she does let me know what his name is. Now, that transcribe thing, I didn't need anybody to transcribe something. That's not how you turn something in. You call the cops with your disabled friend. That's how you do it. If the cops won't listen, you go over their heads. If they won't listen, you go over their heads. That is always the procedure. Always. And all throughout that, you want to continually contact the media. You also want to make sure that you leave updates in public of what your intentions are and your progress. The reason for that is because law enforcement is notorious for trying to sell a false narrative. You get to hear the stuff with Brian Wilgus. You also got to see the text between he and I. You know, he's a drug addict. What can I expect out of the guy? Do I hate him? Hell no. And so many people, their idea of fixing this stuff is the stoic cowboy. I mean, when I ask people seriously what they would do if this shit that I'm going through that they've seen evidence of, what would they do if it was happening to them? And people that I know who don't have access to firearms, well, all right, we're in America, everybody has access to firearms. I mean, like, I could literally build a firearm in like 2 hours that would adequately function. It wouldn't be great, but you got to see they made guns illegal in China. This dude got a welder and welded one together. My grandpa Bruns, had hundreds of guns. He had machine guns. He also fought in the Korean War. So, I mean, there is that. But he was a farmer. He was allowed to have guns, and he had a lot of them. He shouldn't have been allowed guns, though, because he was a fucking pervert. My mom, she was able to extort him. I think that's the right word. Extort him or bribe him because he used to rape her back when she was in high school. My dad rescued her from that. That's how she claims it anyway. She said she doesn't even like my dad, but she loves that he rescued her from her dad. So I went and talked to my grandma once about how my mom was with my grandpa and how my grandpa didn't want anything to do with any of us. And my grandma said to me, well, that's because your mom embezzled over $200,000 from him. Holy shit, did all of that go up her nose? I didn't see that growing up. What I saw is poverty. Of course, I wasn't really raised by my mom. So when Natalie disappeared, there was a bunch of Brits saying they wanted to help, a bunch of Kiwis saying they wanted to help, a bunch of Aussies saying they wanted to help. I also had a lot of people from those places getting a hold of me and threatening to kill me, as you guys have gotten to see. However, the ones who seem to have a grasp or concept of what the Constitution was supposed to be are all foreigners. English-speaking foreigners, but foreigners nonetheless. Foreigners who think of solutions other than the stoic cowboy type. Now, let me show you a little video about a cup of water. This is something that came up on my shorts feed, and so I'm going to show it if it'll let me.
I'm not sure I want to serve alcohol to a man who doesn't want to be an American. Oh my! Where are you going, Geronimo? Huh? You gonna grab your bow and arrow there? Read, everybody. Just want a glass of water. Oh, Shepard's thirsty. I don't want that. Is he crying? I think he's crying. Huh? Oh, now hold on. I call the cops. Freeze, Cochise. Did you spit in this? What?
That seems to be everybody's goddamn solution here in America. They want you to be the stoic cowboy. When you're told by these instruction sheets, you're supposed to go to your bullies and you're supposed to ask them to stop. Or the cops can't do anything about it until you've told them to stop. Until you've tried to, what's the word they used? Tried to mediate peacefully. Well, it wasn't mediated peacefully. Are you fucking kidding me? It wasn't mediated at all. Law enforcement did everything they could to intentionally omit information repeatedly. They went out of their way to lie in court because they wanted to help Natalie's fucking predators and mine. That's not okay. When it comes to speaking up, part of the reason is because police will fucking lie in court. They will outright say things like, and I can prove this as well, they will say things like, oh, he didn't try to get help. And people wouldn't help him probably because of the way that he acts. No. I was getting cut off, left, right, and center from the people who were trying to help me. There were dozens and dozens of people who immediately after texting me that they were going to help me, I was blocked from them, the unavailable thing down at the bottom, for no reason. Now, this is after I'd given the information that I could and given my computers to the detectives in Natalie's case. Goddamn right I did. What, you think I'm out to fucking hurt people? That's stupid. That is stupid. If somebody's going to break the law in this situation from my side, I want that person to be me. I don't want anybody else breaking the law at all. I want to turn this shit in appropriately, but we can't do that when we've got junkies that are afraid that telling the truth, especially if they have to say so publicly, is going to cut them off from their junk. I grew up in the system. I got two parents that are drug addicts. Well, both of them are dead now. And of course, the time on the streets. I mean, you guys want to pretend that I'm stupid and ignorant because of autism. That's your perception. That's your assumption. Your perception is based on your assumption, not reality. Just like those guys wanting to be assholes to the stoic cowboy type in this video. There's hundreds of them. I mean, shit, everybody loves Clint Eastwood, right? Go ahead. Make my day. Right? You know? Yeah, Americans fucking love that shit. Brits love that shit. I get on and I see some of these movies coming on and, you know, I'll be sitting here going through papers, listening to some tunes and reach over and accidentally click the wrong thing. And next thing you know, there's Dirty Harry. For those of you who don't know who Dirty Harry is, that's not a 70s porno. Okay, that's a movie with Clint Eastwood. 44 Magnum. Or is it the 357? I've seen a whole bunch of movie clips where they basically dub him over every time the caliber gets bigger. Oh, now we got the 444. That's a scary round to put in a handgun. Meanwhile, I don't even own a handgun. I could get one, but I don't. I believe that the First Amendment is what matters and that the Second Amendment is there to protect the First Amendment. What are both the First and Second Amendments there for? To protect us from tyrants. Whether that be tyrants in the White House who like fucking little kids, or whether it be locals that like fucking little kids, that's tyranny. When they try to cover it up, that's tyranny. When they try to shut down their victims and call their victims mentally ill, oh, because they have post-traumatic stress disorder from what you've done to them, that makes it so they're no longer human. That makes it so that it's okay to physically assault them and lie about them just because you didn't get what you wanted. And I go through the videos like I'm supposed to. I follow the instructions like I'm supposed to over and over again. I got these instructions, and mind you, they do have my name on them and the date. There's the date. And that's my name. And it says, please continue to locate the time within each video for hard evidence required by the police to file an investigation. But it doesn't matter if they give you a broken link. It doesn't matter if they don't try to help. It doesn't matter if you get sent to TFCC for counseling and advocacy, but TFCC refuses to do any advocacy, because advocacy would resolve the problem and then you won't come back next month. They have done everything that they can to prevent me from turning this in, giving me bad legal advice over and over again. Not that it matters. You think you have rights, but if you have no money and no family who gives a shit, you have no rights. I'm having to rely on drug addicts who are aware of the situation, but they're still drug addicts. The ones who say they're not afraid of the police. No. They're not. But you get to see, just like with Brian Wilgus, they're absolutely afraid of getting cut off from their drugs. Just like you got to hear from John Stevens. He's absolutely afraid of getting cut off from his drugs. That was his fear. He stated it very clearly. He was afraid of getting cut off from his drugs. The rule out here is you don't talk to the police. If anybody knows that you talk to the police, well, you know what these folks keep saying to me? Snitches get stitches. The difference is I ain't hiding it. I ain't hiding it. I'm trying to turn it in the right way. I'm trying to not make everybody's fucking business public. But goddamn, so many people want to talk shit on each other. All of the people that I gave phones to talk shit about all the other people I gave phones to. You can hear Brian Wilgus having, well, I'm going to take that back. I am really sorry for saying that. I shouldn't say talking shit, because I have noticed that their observations, despite the fact that they're drug addicts, their observation of the other drug addicts around them is correct. They are right. Tiffany isn't talking shit about Brian Wilgus. She's right about Brian Wilgus. Tiffany isn't talking shit about Mike Haynes. Mike Haynes does talk about women that way. But one thing that I have not seen Mike Haynes do is put his hands on a woman or try to force her to do things. What Mossam did, which Mike Haynes is trying to help turn in, well, supposedly. I bought him a phone so he could help, but you know how that goes. You also got to hear Sharon and what she had to say about Mike Haynes. Of course, He's not very well liked doing stuff like that. There's a lot of women who obviously have an issue with that. And do they tell him, is this something that he does continually, despite the fact he's been asked not to? I don't know. I don't know if any of these women have told him that they don't want to hear it or that they find it appropriate, but they don't mind telling me. I tell people what I do. I tell people I record. I tell them why. And if they're willing to listen and willing to look, I'll even show them. Sometimes I get into the routine of having to talk to Claire on the phone for hours on end while she basically just wants to change the subject and talk about herself. She doesn't learn anything, she doesn't retain any of the information. She just wants it to be her turn to talk, even when she says she's going to help, and it's tough. Now, the Constitution of the United States, we're all supposed to have rights. We're supposed to have rights in court. But the moment you're called mentally ill, and this right here is where the United States government utterly fails, is that once you are called mentally ill, people can and will get away with physically assaulting you. They will get away with raping you. They will get away with stealing your money, with intentionally taking advantage of you. And it's okay. Americans will look the other way, especially if the person is homeless. You get to see in the news time and time again how many times they actually try listening to the homeless person. It's a difficult thing to do, isn't it? It's a difficult thing for you to take the time out of your day to do anything more than put a token gesture towards them. Oh, I gave you food once, so I did my part. Or I volunteered in Minneapolis for many years. Yeah, well, now you're watching a bunch of stuff that is about Natalie Bollinger. You're being a dickhead to an innocent person. Do you really think that's acceptable? Do you really think that's okay? Do you really think that it's okay for you to do those things to me, but it's not okay for me to speak up about it? It's nuts. And of course, we got a lot of people who are predatory, who want to type their little comments, like this guy right here making a profile called Stupid Sean. And what are we doing? Well, you know it. I'd user on this channel. Nothing more to do. It's not like the cops are going to do anything, because I still have to depend on who? Drug addicts. Drug addicts. The people at the Safeway were going to help, but they all wanted to pawn it off on Candy, and that's because Candy said she was going to, but she never followed through. And when she didn't follow through and this abuse continued, and she didn't try to understand, hey, you need to know that I'm telling the truth. These people who are lying about me, all right, they're not saying he believes. No, they are stating these things as if it must be a fact. John Smith typed, I just got on, what did he say? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's another account from the IXUTH profiles. There's those guys, and then there's the ones from the Don Lemon profile. There's a bunch of them. There's also the evidence that they've coordinated with Andrew Wolnez, and the evidence that many of these people who are protecting Andrew Wolnez are friends with him. There's also the fact that, obviously I did go to the cops first. I went to the cops in the Natalie Bollinger situation. I told them the truth about the situation. When they took me to the Chesapeake Hospital, I told the truth there too. But I didn't have access to my phone because they wouldn't let me have it. Meanwhile, I was never put under arrest. I was never placed under arrest. I was taken to the hospital, given a piece of paper with a list of resources, the closest one being 8 miles away. Jesus Christ, something's going on in the background. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to use this telephone to actually record something real quick and show it to you. So hold on just a brief moment. I do apologize. We'll slide this over. Oh, come on now. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a video here. And, oh, that's not it. All right. Ready? Video. So there are over 28,000, there's 28,573 photos, 1,975 videos. These are from April 11th, 2018 to April 16th, 2018. This is when I posted them to the internet. And of course, there is one other picture. And this one is from Alicia Bollinger. It says, "Can you make it all the way and back, Sean?" So, oh, that's not it. The one before that was about gas. Ah, shit. It's having issues. I don't know. Anyway, oh, come on. Now everything's frozen up. God bless America, right? So, let's take a look at this. This is all a bunch of really complicated shit that I wouldn't have to do if I had a friend or family member that gave a shit. But you can hear when people come in here to help me, these are drug addicts. If it's not what they're interested in or what they want to talk about, or their conspiracy theory, or talking about shooting people and stabbing people and tasering people and blowing people up and all this crazy shit, putting rats in their vehicles and blowing their heads off, and that's not help. So there are over 28,000. All right, here we go. So there are over 28,000. There's 28,573 photos, 1,975 videos. These are from April 11th, 2018 to April 16th, 2018. This is when I posted them to the internet. And of course, there is one other picture. And this one is from Alicia Bollinger. It says, "Can you make it all the way and back, Sean?" Oh, that's not it. The one before that was about gas. All right, so Alicia Bollinger planned the trip with me. She wasn't the only one. There's also the messages with Maddie Boa, messages with Natalie Bollinger. What they tried claiming later on was because they were embarrassed. They weren't honest with their mom, and for good reason, mind you. I mean, it's not like Natalie didn't warn me about what her family was like. She did. The problem is that there are no good people. There's nice people. There's a lot of people with good intentions. But going in with me and not being afraid of your name, not being afraid, or rather being afraid but marching right fucking through it anyway. Bravery is not the absence of fear. It is courage to stand in the face of it. When Danny and Alyssa were being beaten on by one of my friends in Rawlins, Wyoming, was it worth the time I spent locked up to get those girls safe? You goddamn right it was. Was it worth it for me when Natalie Bollinger disappeared? Was it worth it to post up a missing persons post? You goddamn right it was. When Shauna Sinclair's daughter went missing, goddamn right it was. Or Mandy Singer's son, you goddamn right it was. It was right for me to speak up. It was right to say something. When it comes to the Constitution, you guys are so focused on the Second Amendment, you don't give a fuck that there's supposed to be a First Amendment. See, there's a two-part system there. There's many two-part systems. The first part is your measure of tyranny. The First Amendment is your measure for tyrants. If the First Amendment does not apply to you, then you are living under tyranny. The Second Amendment is to protect the first from tyrants. But that's not just a tyrannical government. That's not just for Donald Trump. That's also for locals. Not just your local and state governments. That Second Amendment isn't just for defending your rights against Judge Mary Trevino. It's not just for defending your rights against Kylie Petrie. It's not just for defending your rights against Lieutenant Silvera or Joshua Brown or Nick Troxel or Ray Rao. No, the Second Amendment even comes right down to your own household. When it comes to the Second Amendment, say you're a 16-year-old, you're being told that you need to man up thing a lot more now that you're 16. You're not old enough to own a firearm, though. Now what are you supposed to do? Your mom beats on you. Your dad rapes you. You can't turn it in because the cops are going to give you the choice of either going to juvie or staying with your predators. You can either go to a lockup facility like you've done something bad for telling on your parents, or you can stay home and take more beatings and more sexual assaults. But you ain't old enough to hold a firearm. You ain't old enough to buy a firearm. You ain't old enough to register a firearm. That's not going to stop you, is it? This is America, for Christ's sake. But when it comes down to it, these people don't want to kill anybody. They don't want to fucking hurt anybody. They want people to stop hurting them. Your daughter isn't cutting on herself because she's mentally ill. She's cutting on herself because somebody's doing bad stuff to her and you don't fucking care. Your son didn't kill himself for no reason. He didn't kill himself because he was depressed. Why was he depressed? Did you give a shit to find out why he was depressed, or did you treat him like shit for being depressed? When the kids at school were bullying him into fucking killing himself, and he came and tried to tell you about it, did you try to do something about the bullies? Or did you give them shitty advice like, just ignore them? They'll stop. Eventually they'll stop. You're fucking insane. Or worse, you get the parents who are like, man, if he puts his hands on you, whoop his ass. Or worse than that. And it does get worse than that. It gets a lot worse than that. Like when you got a bully that's got the fat mama. All of you know the type. It's always that fat woman. She's a single mom. She got maybe one kid. And she wants to rule the roost. She wants to tell every other person in town what they need to be doing. She wants to stick her nose in everybody else's business. Talk about how men are no good. The Lanny Engline type. She was one of the nicer ones about that, though. She was also addicted to penis. So, as much as she hated men, she kept them around. Screwed up situation. Trying to get somebody to listen, you get to see how without a friend or family member, they can do whatever the fuck they want. They can make up whatever they want. Kylie Petrie decided to give me a few pieces of paper where she was trying to coach me in what to say so that they could destroy evidence of their own wrongdoing and somehow make it my fault or my choice. No, we're not destroying evidence. We're taking you son of a bitches to court. God damn it. They intentionally broke the law knowing and willingly. It doesn't matter how much evidence I have if nobody's going to look and nobody's going to listen, nobody's going to make the telephone calls with me. Claire Jordan, out of all of the actual phone calls where we could actually turn something in, she never, ever kept the appointment, not even once, ever, under any circumstances. She is a selfish piece of shit, straight up. And if it weren't for her kids, I would be fighting at this very moment to have her put in fucking prison for what she did. Why is she getting leniency? Is it because she's got a vagina? No, it's because she's got kids. I could care less about your anatomical whatever. The only time I bring up the anatomical whatever is when there's a bunch of people being completely fucking loony about crazy shit. No, not all men are fucking rapists. You want to keep saying that shit, I'm going to keep pointing out how many women are complaining that they ain't getting the D. Men in America won't date them. Well, there's a fucking reason for that. It's called insanity. All right? It is insane to believe that men want to date somebody who's going to treat them like they're a rapist every time they don't get what they want. Just not going to fucking happen. There's also this idea that all of us ugly dudes who you aren't interested in, that we should spend all this money for this self-help stuff and these dating sites. And are you fucking kidding me? I'm not going to waste my time getting swiped because I'm not interested. I'm not interested. Meanwhile, we're still stuck on the Constitution, ain't we? We're stuck on the fact that if you're called mentally ill, the Constitution doesn't apply to you. If you tell somebody that works for the government, when you're by yourself, when you tell them that people are trying to bully you into killing yourself, if you go in by yourself as a disabled homeless man, they will go out of their way to reword that into you are trying to kill yourself. And their paperwork at TFCC shows that over and over and over again. It also shows there were people who went in and told them about the abuse, told them that it was real. And they blew it off and pretended like it's no big deal. Then there's, of course, we're not equipped to handle autism. Actually, you fucking are. You are absolutely equipped to handle autism. All of you are. It's just like with any other vulnerable fucking adult who's being abused. When I had to go in alone, I got ran around in circles and I recorded it. So there's proof of how we are treated when we go in alone. And then there's the people who want to get on my channel and watch this shit for entertainment instead of helping me to turn it in. If you're going to look at the evidence, listen to my story, and turn it in with me, that's what I need. But you have to be able to verify I'm telling the truth, because we're going to have to make some fucking phone calls. We have to do these things over the phone. I can no longer go talk to Sergeant Jones of Troop E, or now it's Lieutenant Jones of Troop B. I can no longer talk to her in person or take evidence to her in person. It has to be done over the phone now. It has to be done over the phone. The initial call is what gets it started, not this retarded bullshit about, I'll see if I can come up with money to pay for a transcript. I don't need you to fucking pay for a transcript. I need you to make a fucking call about abuse. Jesus Christ. And something that I've said over and over and over again, this channel is not for your entertainment. This channel isn't so you can get on here and bully somebody. It isn't so that you can get on here and feel better about yourself because your life isn't this shitty. The fact is that these internet crimes that many of you have seen and even taken part in, they're still crimes. The fact that they have been done for the Bollingers is a federal crime. And the fact that those crimes began before I ever left the state of Virginia, and those crimes proceeded across multiple state lines, well, yeah, it's a fucking federal thing. But Brett Roloff, was he really going to help me turn anything to the FBI? You guys got to listen to that video yesterday. Well, you know goddamn well that he was too fucked up on meth, digging through his fucking dookie for a baggie that was obviously not worth salvaging. Well, now we don't even have the Brits, the Kiwis, or the Aussies. They're aware it's a fucking sham. The United States is a disgusting place where whether or not you are considered human is based on what other people think. You get to hear Mike Haynes doesn't think very highly of Pun, doesn't think very highly of Tiffany, doesn't think very highly of Brian Wilgus. Brian Wilgus doesn't think very highly of Tiffany. He doesn't think very highly of Pun. He doesn't think very highly of Mike Haynes. We also get to hear that Sharon is not particularly fond of Mike Haynes. We get to hear how Mike Haynes isn't particularly fond of quite a few people, and these are in his own words, and by these people's own admission, they know that I record. They know I record publicly, and they know why. Anyway, I'm going to post up some numbers and stuff like that for TFCC. I'm going to post up Lacey Hawkins' email address. It is through TFCC, and it is public. It's already been public. I pulled it up from public. Therefore, it's fine to post it up. As far as the crimes committed by Brian Wilgus in the last 2 weeks, yes, they're recorded. Of course I recorded them. I'm not stupid. I also recorded what he had to say about Mike Haynes. I recorded what he had to say about Tiffany and Pun. But also you get to see how he can't keep his lies straight. How am I going to trust somebody who can't keep their lies straight? I mean, when you get busted lying, that's a very big deal for me. When you get busted intentionally misrepresenting the situation, that's a very big deal for me. And it's also a very big deal to the courts. You guys got to see in this video evidence that there are a lot. That's just in the photos section, this one computer. If I showed you how many phones I got that are full of evidence. 3 computers, not one. I have 3 computers. Matter of fact, just to prove it to you. Uno momento. This is the computer that I bought with Brandon Ratner. Brandon Ratner was there when I bought this. I bought this right after Natalie died. I bought it at a pawn shop. I wanted one with a camera, so this is the one they sold me. And then I had to go back in and buy a camera because there was no camera for this. So I had to buy an external camera. Yeah, the lady at the pawn shop didn't understand English apparently, which is funny because she sounded like she was from Colorado. So this computer, when the police in Rawlins, Wyoming stole the computer that I'm using right now, it's prevent me from showing the crimes that they committed or how hostile and cruel that they were to me for trying to turn in child abuse. There's also the recordings of Rayanne Ingersoll. She outright lied. Outright lied. But she also admitted to it. She said she did it because she was angry. Now, the question is, why was she angry? She was angry because I was insistent that she needed to stop beating on those two girls. I'd already made 3 calls anonymously about those beatings. I'd then made 3 calls not anonymously about those beatings. Police officers went out of their way to lie about evidence that they knew existed and had already seen. They went out of their way to try to prevent that evidence from being shown in court by putting me in an environment where they knew that I would be harmed and where they knew I wouldn't be able to show the evidence repeatedly. Like Rawlins Police Department stealing this computer. And then I had to use this one. This is actually the computer that my little sister's tweaker friend Ed erased the whole goddamn thing. Now, why do I carry it with me everywhere? Because I was told that the FBI can get that information off of it. I don't think the FBI gives a shit. Of course, when you start listening to the witnesses, it's pretty obvious that they should. So, with the evidence that I'm able to show, 28,000 something screenshots just on this computer alone in the photos. Then there's that computer, which hopefully has stuff that's salvageable. And then there's this stuff right here. Well, let's make sure we get all the phones except for we can get all of the phones that I have currently present to show you. I have a lot of fucking evidence, a lot of little pieces of machinery. This ain't even close to all of it. Not even close. So we got the computer here, right? And then we got, Jesus fuck. Pardon my goddamn French. I know that's bad English, but whatever. So, in addition to that computer and that computer, we have this phone and 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 this phone. That's not even all of them. I want you to take a look at that stack of telephones. Yeah, people keep assaulting me, and when they assault me, my shit gets broken. Or they throw a tantrum because they heard a rumor and decided to break my stuff. Then, of course, we've got this right here. What's this? This is a little tablet thingy that I got from David and Katie Saltzman, who, if you watched one of the videos yesterday about the missing people, they're 2 of the people I came here to Oregon because they were missing. There's also a pad. I don't know where I put it. It's a, here it is. Right here. So, over the years, I've acquired a lot of technology, and this isn't even all of it. Like, all of these things are full. Every one of these things is full. All of them. They're full. I can't take any more screenshots or take any more videos. They're all full. All of them are full. Every one of them. Full of me trying to get help from selfish pieces of shit. That is how America is. You get to see how I have to type to these people hundreds and hundreds of times. These people who supposedly care about me, supposedly are going to help me to turn it in. But you get to see that never once do they take appropriate action. Claire Jordan is notorious for saying to call her when this stuff happens. And then when I call her, she goes out of her way to treat me completely like shit, even yelling and screaming at me, using her kids as her excuse to be a fucking shitty goddamn person. But do I go posting that up for y'all to hear? Do I go out of my way to fucking post up all the shitty fucking things that she does? No. And I've never. I speak about them, about how horrible it feels. But also, the moment that she wants to pretend that she never said those things, that's when it comes out in public. That's when I go, you know what? I have wasted a lot of time with this person. I'm going to have to take the time to show how shitty this person has actually been when they claimed that they would help me and it came time to follow through. There's also a container full of USBs that I'm trying to find, and I do apologize. There's a lot of crap in here, mostly evidence. I do apologize. I'll apologize again if you need it. I'll apologize as many times as you need to hear it. I'm sorry that you haven't taken the time to look at evidence. I'm sorry that you came here to pass judgment on me for things that other people did to me. I'm sorry that you came here to pass judgment on me for other things that people did to my friends and family. I'm not sorry for the things that I've done. And I'm not going to be sorry for the things that I've done. I don't get embarrassed. Many of these victims, what was so horrible for them is that they don't want everybody to know their dad fucking raped them. Sure, they'll tell you to manipulate you out of something. Take case in point, Natalie Bollinger. We already got to see evidence time and again of what Tim Beeson said. Tim Beeson said he saved every word. He read every word between me and Natalie. That's not true. He claimed he was going to post up every word between me and Natalie. Well, that's not true. Guess who did post up every word between me and Natalie? Me. Every single screenshot. Every single one. Every single message in our Facebook Messenger going right back to the beginning. But you know what? Facebook didn't post them in order. It posted them all out of order. And not one goddamn person tried to put them in order except for me. Not one goddamn person gave a shit. Not only that, I had a bunch of people pretending that I was going out of my way to do horrible things and put things out of context because I didn't post them in order. I absolutely fucking did. But at the same time, I still don't have one goddamn person in person who gives a fuck about this abuse. Every single person that I go to is fucking nonchalant and lazy about it, or they want to talk about fucking shooting people like a bunch of goddamn idiots. So I'd like to say thank you to the Brits. I'm sorry that we're not friends anymore, but I like you guys. I'm sorry to the Kiwis that, well, we're no longer friends, but I like you guys. Also to the Aussies. Yeah, I'm an American and we're not friends with you guys anymore. So just so you know, I still like you. As far as Greenland goes, we shouldn't be invading Greenland. We should be invading Canada. You don't think that was a funny joke? That's all right. When people were racist to me when I was younger, I'd start being quote unquote racist against Canadians. It confuses racists. So the next time you run into somebody who wants to tell you about, well, you know those racist terms that people like to use for foreigners. Next time they do that, do the exact same thing, except use Canadians as your example and watch Americans' faces go. Confuses the shit out of them.